Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Western BCP Planning Committee. Before we go any further, I will hand over to the Democratic Services Officer to give us the housekeeping, and please also tell us about apologies and substitute members.
Thank you, Chair. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed for live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, or their ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the Chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of this building in Bourne Avenue. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning the volume down completely on your laptops. Thank you. So, Chair, apologies have been received from Councillor Brian Hitchcock, Councillor Peter Cooper and Councillor Joe Clements. And we have Councillor Patrick Canavan substituting today for Councillor Peter Cooper.
Thank you very much. Before we go any further, I'll ask everybody who's taking part in the meeting to introduce themselves. I'll start. I'm Councillor Marion Lepedvian. I'm chair of this committee. And first of all, members of the committee.
Councillor Gillian Martin, Boscombe West.
Joe Salmon, Moordown Ward.
Cameron Adams, Kinson.
Councillor Patrick Canavan, Boscombe West here as a substitute.
Councillor Simon McCormack, Burton and Grange Ward.
Councillor John Challoner, Camford Cliffs Ward.
Peter Sidaway, Broadstone.
Councillor Captain Law for Alderney and Bourne Valley.
Thank you. And officers present.
Monika Kwiatkowska, DM Team Leader, Western Team.
And we've all.
And Rebecca Rhodes, Clerk to the committee today.
And we have various other people who will be joining us online on the screen. So then we move on to declarations of interest. If any committee members have any interest to declare about either of the items on the agenda, please do so now. And if anything occurs to you during the meeting, feel free to do it then. We have the minutes of the meeting of the 6th of November. Is everybody happy to confirm those as an accurate record? I'm seeing nods, I'm hearing nothing. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we move on to the business of the real business of the meeting. Because of information listed on the addendum sheet, we're proposing to deal with item 6B first, and then we'll move back to 6A. So if I hand over to the Democratic Services Officer to explain, Planning Officer, to explain what this is about and the reasoning. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Chair. The item 6B is the application to vary conditions for the previous consent considered by this planning committee earlier on this year. It is to vary conditions 1, 2 and 3 at land south of Upton Road in Creekmore, which is associated with the temporary permission for paddle courts. Upon discussing the case with the planning agent, it is the LPA's resolution to offer to defer this planning application to allow the head of planning operations opportunity to undertake further negotiations as requested by the applicant, which will then try to address the reasons for refusals highlighted in the report and also address additional conditions which should be addressed to make the scheme comprehensive. So the recommendation at this stage is to be changed from refusal to defer for further negotiations.
So has anyone got any questions or comments? I don't see a rush of people wanting to speak. Councillor Challoner.
Thank you, Chair. Only to say that I propose that we accept this recommendation and defer the application.
Thank you. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Adams. I saw first. So we'll take the vote. The proposal is to accept the recommendation to defer. Those in favour, please vote now.
That's unanimous.
Unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. So we move on now, or move back to item 6A, which is to do with the Key Thistle Hotel, which you remember, many of you were on the committee when we discussed this before in August 23, I think. So the permission is still valid, it's still live, but circumstances have changed. And again, I'll ask the presenting officer to explain what this is about.
Thank you, Chair. So members, the report before you, which is in the agenda pack, relates to the redevelopment of the Key Thistle Hotel. That's the site in Port, and the report recommends that the Planning Committee overturns the previous resolution to approve that planning application considered in August 2023 due to the failure of the applicant to sign a Section 106 agreement. So in August 2023, Planning Committee considered the application for demolition of the existing hotel building and the redevelopment of the site. And the location of the site is shown in red in front of you. The proposal was for a mixed-use scheme for 5 buildings that included commercial units at ground floor level, 179 residential units above, and a hotel with ancillary bar and restaurant, together with associated landscaping, parking, and access arrangements. At that time, the committee resolved to grant planning permission subject to completion of a Section 106 agreement. So paragraph 3 of the report before you summarizes the required contributions and obligations that were to be secured through Section 106 agreement. So these include details of delivery of affordable housing, requirements at the hotel to be completed prior to the occupation of residential units on site. There were also financial contributions required for mitigation against the increased recreational impacts upon Dorset, Heathland and Poole Harbour, SPA and Ramsar sites, as well as off-site contributions towards creation of the open space, improvements to local infrastructure, education and healthcare services. Additional obligation was to be secured to relocate the non-designated locally listed anchor currently sited in front of the hotel. So the developer has gone into receivership due to bankruptcy in January 2025, and the local planning authority has been liaising with the receivers since then. Section 106 agreement was drafted and sent to them for signing in April 2025, and the standard expectation for signing such a document is around 14 days. Despite repeated attempts to chase the signing of this agreement in June and July, and the final deadline set for October 2025, no signed agreement has been returned. So as set out in paragraphs 10 to 22 of the report, failure to secure Section 106 agreement has significant implications for the delivery of the scheme. Furthermore, without this document signed and contributions secured, the local planning authority, as competent authority, is unable to conclude that the scheme would have no adverse effect on the integrity of the designated sites such as Dorset Heathlands and Poole Harbour, SPA and Ramsar. So paragraph 23 of the report lists 6 reasons for refusal, which stem directly from the failure to sign the Section 106 agreement. This planning application has been in the system since the 1st of February 2023, and the Section 106 agreement has not been signed since it's been issued to the receivers since April 2025. Given the length of time it has been in the planning system, it is considered that there's need to conclude this planning application and to provide certainty rather than it being held in abeyance for indefinite period of time. So paragraph 48 of the NPPF states that decisions on applications should be made as quickly as possible and within statutory timescales, unless longer period has been agreed in writing with the applicant. For major applications, such as this one, the statutory timeframe is 13 weeks. Within this, this application has been extended, however, a few times, and now has been awaiting final resolution for 28 months since the committee's original decision been agreed. So for these reasons, it is recommended that the Planning Committee overturn the previous resolution to approve this application and refuse planning permission. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 registered speakers, one in person and one who will be joining us remote.
If not,
Oh. The registered speaker has just walked out of the room, so I'm not quite sure what we're doing now. So shall we take the submitted
Yes, she's not
Well-
online, Chair, so I will read it out on her behalf.
Thank you very much.
Let me just-
Ah,
Okay, did she want to come up then?
yeah. Are you ready to speak? I was just announcing you and you turned around and walked out the door, which did rather confuse me.
Okay, so if you press the button nearest to you, that's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Snowell.
Please make maximum use of your powers to oblige contribution to the safety and efficiency of the transport network in granting any planning permission, including but not limited to today's application regarding Key Thistle site. Secure cycle storage and widening and winding of the missing link cycle route from Turks Lane to the beach would do a great deal to mitigate the impact on congestion of this development. Please also protect any Section 106 agreement, Section 278 Highways Act order, and or other device with a requirement for third-party warranties, sometimes called third-party sureties, Section 106 bonds, performance bonds, or bank sureties from a financial institution of good standing. Sheffield City has well-drawn policy for this, which your officers may choose to use as a basis for a precedent. Incorporation of performance bonds is good practice for any substantial promise to do something and would be a good addition to BCP Council policies on procurement. And I leave it to your officers to unpick whether you indeed have any power at all to impose additional conditions as part of granting today's application.
Thank you very much. And we also have a written submission, which the Democratic Services Officer will read out to us.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this is a statement from Maureen Evans, who sadly cannot be with us today, but she has submitted this written statement. This is overdevelopment of the area rather than enhancing it. This glorious space beside the harbour needs to be uplifted into the current century and be an investment for future generations. This proposed monstrosity does not do that. We do not need more flats in Poole. There are multiple flats and complexes of flats in Poole already. Waterloo Wharf, West Quay Road, Dolphin Quays, Sturt Court, Drake Court, Avenel Way, Lifeboat Quay, Lagland Court, Nelson Court, to name just a few. The list of flats in Poole is endless. Flats can provide wonderful homes for people, but we need a mix of housing in Poole, not just flats, as these do not cater for everyone. A variety of housing is required to embrace community. Families benefit from homes with gardens. People like the opportunity to grow things, including fruit and vegetables, and to have pets. Without a variety of housing, Poole will lose its community and become a ghetto of multiple residential units, which the town does not have infrastructure to support. The proposal does not include adequate consideration for parking, which is already at a premium in Poole. As a community nurse, I dread having to visit patients in Poole as they are so inaccessible. The patients are not seen in a timely fashion as we drive around in circles to find a parking space. All homes need to be accessible to visitors, not just the inhabitants. Ambulances, community nurses, delivery services, plumbers, electricians, etc. all require parking places to carry out services when required. There are not enough parking spaces in Poole currently without adding to this problem with more buildings with inadequate parking. A hotel on the quay could be a wonderful place to stay and could provide great facilities for locals and visitors alike. Restaurant, bar, spa, etc. and would be a great venue for weddings and more. However, the proposal of even more commercial units is ridiculous, with the still empty retail units underneath the current Dolphin Quays building, empty shops in high streets and Dolphin Centre, etc. The proposed buildings are far too small and spoil the skyline of the quayside. We need more green spaces for the environment. Please consider more attractive housing with adequate parking and open spaces. Build places that people will aspire to live in. Plan open spaces and buildings that people will want to visit and to attract tourism to this beautiful place. Please can we have a bit more vision? Consider open plazas with artistic structures and public transport links. Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you. So, as you will realise from particularly that second submission, it is addressing an issue that we're not actually scheduled to be looking at today. We're only being asked to refuse it on the basis of the non-signing of the 106 agreement. We're not going back to the original designs, content, plans for the site. We're not looking at that at all. Okay, so on the basis of that, we have no other registered speakers. So any questions from members? No, wow. So, discussion. Councillor Challoner.
Thank you, Chair. I propose that we accept the recommendation to refuse this application.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Martin? Right, we move straight to the vote. This is going to be even quicker than I expected. Those in favour of accepting the recommendation to refuse because of the reasons given, vote now.
That is unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much, everybody. Meeting.
No, appeals report.
So now we close the mic. We close down, don't we?
Appeals report.
We've got right. I thought that was after. So now we just move on to the appeals report from Monica. The appeals that have happened over recent months and the outcomes.
Thank you, Chair. So as you can see from the report, there's no major concerns in terms of the performance. However, we still obviously need to reflect on the decisions and the two allowed appeals, which are highlighted in the report, and both of them relate to the impact of the development on non-designated heritage assets or designated heritage assets, and the inspector taking a different view on how the officers interpreted policies and the NPPF in that regard. I'll take any questions if there are any.
Any questions? No?
No.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Monica, for that very succinct report. And now we. Sorry? Yeah. And now I declare the meeting closed in under 20 minutes. I think that's a record. Thank you, everybody.